Hi, my name is Glenn Worthington. I'm the Dean of the School of Business and Professional Studies at Brandman. And I know that you're having a faculty meeting tonight. I was talking with some of the San Diego faculty, and they said, wouldn't it be nice if you made a video? So here I am, I'm making the video. I've got 5 key things that I'll try to share in about, maybe 7 or 8 minutes. First, I was asked to talk about the direction of Brandman. Well, the direction we're going is we're moving at a fast speed in a number of different areas. First, in terms of our delivery. You probably noticed last year we changed to not having any fully on-ground classes. Now every class we have is either blended or online. And we made that change in 1 year. Now we're on a path of continuous improvement of those courses. That was a big change for us. The second big change that we had was we went from 9-week terms to 8-week terms. And that was based on feedback that we had from stakeholders in the field, not only a lot of our faculty, alumni, and students, but we looked at benchmarks from other universities, and that seemed to be probably the best length of a term for adult learners. Adult learners have different goals, and 8-week terms seem to fit with their goals the best. Second thing I'll share is about new programs. Well, for the School of Business and Professional Studies, we have 2 new business programs, bachelor's and master's in business administration, and we have a master's in public administration. And as you know, we've still got our leadership programs, HR programs, computer science programs. And I know other schools have a lot of other innovations that they're doing to keep up with cutting edge kinds of things in their disciplines. But those are the ones that we have in our school. And the very last that I'll share about our direction is just kind of the way we're doing things this year. Last year we had blended and 8-week terms. This year our innovation for going forward will be centralized scheduling. And you'll probably see some changes in long-term schedules, fall 2, maybe winter term. We're also doing quality matters training for all of our full-time faculty. And that's just a formalized way of assessing our classes so that when we work toward continuous improvement, we're going forward. We're not redoing some of the same kinds of things over and over again. And the last thing that we're doing is we're doing a formalized assessment for WASC. And you'll hear about signature assignments and embedded rubrics only for our mastery level courses right now, but that's something that we've started this term, and we'll be continuing it throughout the rest of the year. And those are some of the innovations in terms of the ways that we do things, areas of emphasis for this year. Let me shift a little bit and talk about our organization. For a speech like this, the biggest thing I'll say in terms of organization is, as adjunct faculty at San Diego, probably your best points of contact are 1, your director, Flavius, and 2, the full-time faculty that we have at your campus. But if you have a course that you're teaching, let's say you're teaching OLCU 425, your director has a course contact person list, and on that list there will be a full-time faculty member who's in charge of that course. And if you have questions about the content of that course, get a hold of that person. They'll be the resident expert. Even if they're not the developer, they'll find out the information that you need to know. Other points of contact you can get through your director, like what to do if you need tech support or login support, those kinds of things. But make sure you follow that course contact list, because that really streamlines your communication about a course to the most important person who can help you out. And at the end of the term, hopefully you'll give feedback about what can be better about that course or what really went well, so that that course contact person can take information from all of the adjuncts, put it together, get it to our instructional designer, and make that course better. So that's a thing about organization. Use that course contact person, and hopefully your questions will be answered and you can help us with continuous improvement. Second thing I want to talk, or the third thing I want to talk about, is instruction. Probably the biggest issue that students have with instructors for online is they don't get enough feedback. They just feel like they want a lot of feedback. And here's a tip that I learned that I think would have been helpful for me at the very beginning of being an online instructor. If you have 25 students in a class, on the discussion board feedback, maybe respond to every fourth or fifth student. And then the next week, respond to 4 or 5 different students. That way the interaction isn't between you and 25 students. It's between you and several students, and hopefully the students amongst themselves. That way students hear from you about every 3 or 4 weeks. And then every single week, have some kind of individual correspondence that goes directly to the student about how they're doing, what they did on a given assignment, and things they could have done better to improve their writing or their work, that kind of thing. And I found if you follow those 2 rules of thumb, usually if there are complaints about your teaching and lack of feedback and lack of involvement, we can support you. One other thing I'd say is keep your email and correspondence within the course. Don't do a lot of it outside, because if it's inside the course, it's a matter of record, and we can go back and check it later on if there are any disputes or things like that about what you're doing. I'm going to talk briefly about administration. 2 points. Week 2 of each class, there's an attendance requirement through WebAdvisor. Please do that on time. It's a requirement of WASC. It fits with financial aid reporting requirements, and we just need to have that done. If it's not done, it goes on a list, and we have to follow up with every single adjunct or full-time faculty member that didn't do it. It's easier just as soon as your people have attended, mark them attended, and get that report in within the 2nd week. The other thing is grades are due at the very end of the term. For the grades that aren't submitted on time, we have to hold up all of the degree postings and everything like that until every last grade is turned in. So if you can get the grades in on time and look at that timeline, that's important. And I'll close with information about incompletes. It's just a matter of policy. Often misunderstood, this whole thing about incompletes, I think can follow one rule of thumb that's helpful for me. If a student is behind the whole term and they want extra time to finish their work at the very end, that's not the reason for an incomplete. If a student is passing your course and then something urgent happens, death in the family, accident, where they don't finish one part of a major assignment, you can give them an incomplete and they can take a few weeks to finish that up the next term. But in general, incompletes aren't just extra time to raise grades. They're really a specialized kind of thing that happens when there's something urgent or immediate at the very end of a term. So be careful about incompletes, and if you have any questions about whether to give one or not, talk with a full-time faculty member at your campus before you give one. That's just a good rule of thumb. So those are some things to get started. I'd like to close by saying thank you so much for what you do for Brandman students and for continuing on as we try to be people that make a difference in adult learners' lives. Hey, thanks again.